If you are struggling to get big, lively sounding drums, then I have a little trick for you that will take your drums from this to this. Hi, I'm Stefan from Mix66 and in this video I want to show you how you can get better drum sounds. Many of us, including me, have to record our drums in small rooms because they don't have access to a big live room. But for most genres you want to have big huge drum sounds, and to get there you have to record them in big live rooms. But don't worry, there is a simple trick that will transform your drums recorded in a small room into big drums. I already have another video on my channel where I showed 5 tips and tricks to record drums in a small room, but in this video I want to show you a very innovative way to use your drum reverbs. And by the way, this technique works for every instrument or even vocals, not just drums. So what I am using is early reflections. So before we jump into a DAW to see what I have done, I want to talk about why bigger rooms sound better and what reflections have to do with it. So let's imagine a room with a mic in it. In a small room, the first reflection from the wall hits the microphone pretty quickly after the direct sound wave from your signal. If the room gets bigger, the timing difference between the direct signal and the reflection will become bigger. That's obvious because the reflection has to travel a longer way, and it takes sound waves more or less 3 milliseconds per meter. So what happens if the direct signal and the reflection from the wall are pretty close to each other? You get phase issues or comp filtering. I will show you with pink noise what is happening. So on this channel I have a pink noise and I send this channel to the second channel. So we will assume that this channel is our direct signal and this down here is our reflection. Here we have just a pink noise generator, level is -20 dB, and on this reflection channel I've inserted this time adjustment delay. It is at 0 milliseconds, but the level is turned down quite a bit. And on the sum of these two channels I've inserted an analyzer so that we can actually see what we are hearing. So we assume that this sum is the signal that our microphone picks up. It is the combination of the direct signal and the reflection from the wall. Of course, when you are in a room there are many reflections, but demonstrating the effect also works with just one reflection. This one for now is muted. Let's listen to the pink noise. So right now the reflection is muted. I will now turn on the direct signal, so the pink noise, and then unmute the reflection. You will hear that the signal just becomes louder because it is the exact same signal with no timing difference. You also see in the analyzer that it is a straight line. Now I will activate the pink noise again, but I will delay the reflection by 6 milliseconds. So this would be more or less the time for the early reflection if the first wall is 1 meter away from your sound source. So this is a total length of 2 meters. And we heard before, sound travels with a speed of 3 milliseconds per meter. So it takes 6 milliseconds for a signal to hit the wall and then hit the microphone. Listen to how the sound changes and also how our analyzer curve is not a straight line anymore. So this is exactly what happens in your microphone with your signal when the early reflections are too close to the direct signal. And now let's listen to what happens if this delay becomes even bigger. So we assume that we are now in a bigger room. You can hear and see that we don't have any phase issues or comp filtering happening. By the way, if I put it back to let's say 2 milliseconds and enable the pink noise, you will see why this effect is called comp filtering. Now you see our line seems like a comp. So this happens not only in your room mics but also in your close mics or when you're recording any other instrument or vocal. And normally when we are talking about reverbs, we talk about decay time, RT60, reverb tail and everything, but I think we don't talk enough about the importance of early reflections, because they determine how big the room really feels. The length of the decay is more an indication of how the room is treated. If the room is not treated, the decay time will become longer, and if it's treated with acoustic foam for example, the delay time will become shorter. But the timing of the early reflections will always be the same, whether the room is dampened or not. Maybe the timing and the frequency response of the early reflections change, but not their timing. And that is why early reflections can help us get bigger drum sounds without the washy effect of long reverb tails. A little tip on the side: if you have to record your drums in a small room, try to dampen it as much as possible. Because the lower these first reflections are in level, the less obvious is the effect. Let's listen again to our example. So right now the reflection is turned down -14 dB. And you will notice, if I lower the volume, the comp filtering will eventually go away, because the reflections are too low in level. The delay is 5 milliseconds. Let's take a listen. And you also saw that the line became straighter. Of course, early reflection cannot replace recording in a bigger room, because these early reflections are baked into your signal if you record in a small room. But if you are using the early reflections from a reverb that's simulating a bigger room, this can help mask some of the issues caused by the early reflections from the small room. So let's jump into the DAW and see what I have done. Okay, so here I have a drum recording of myself. You can also see me playing it right here. And let's listen to the drum recording. This is slightly mixed, but with no additional effects, no reverb, no room mics, no anything. And now what I have done was I added an aux effect channel and added Seventh Heaven by Liquid Sonics. This is an awesome reverb plugin. I choose the Studio E setting, added a low cut at 122 Hz, and the most important thing, here the early late knob I turned all the way to early. So now we are hearing just the early reflections. If you load the plugin initially and select this preset, the standard value is equal mix, but I turn it all the way to the left to early. Then I send all of my channels to this reverb. So here you can see what I'm sending: the snare, both toms and the overheads, and also the kick, but I've turned down the volume of the kick. We will see later why I turned down the kick. Now if we play just this channel, listen to how it sounds. It sounds almost like a room mic. So pretty natural, just like a room mic. Let's compare that to this instance of Seventh Heaven. It is exact the same, just that the early late mix is equal. So now we are listening to the exact same reverb, just with also the reverb tail enabled. Let's switch between both versions. Pretty drastic difference. And now let's listen to how the early reflections affect the drum mix. The early reflections are enabled, so we are listening to this instance of the plugin. I will play now the drum recording first with the early reflection muted and switch them on while we are listening. Once again with the early reflections enabled. It feels like I've muted a room mic. And that is why I love this technique so much. It sounds natural and it doesn't have that long reverb tail that you don't like in your drums. So basically I think about this early reflections aux channel like a room mic, with the additional advantage that I can adjust how much of the direct mics I will send to my room mic. That is why I have turned down the kick drum. I will put now the kick drum to 0 dB and you will hear how weird that sounds. You hear too much kick drum in your early reflections, just doesn't sound good. You could also mute them if you want to. So if you treat it like a room mic, you could also saturate it to make it even more explosive. Maybe you should turn down the kick even more if you're going for this saturation sound. So that's basically it. Just one more thing. Not every single reverb plugin has a separate control of early reflections like the Seventh Heaven has, and not every plugin that has this function to control the early reflections sound as good as others. For example, I really love this Seventh Heaven by Liquid Sonics. I also have Ultra Reverb from Eventide. Even though Eventide is a great company, they make great products, hardware and software, I just can get this nice natural sound with this plugin. Let's try it with this one. So I disable the tail level, so we hear just the early reflections. And no matter the settings I choose here, it just doesn't sound as natural as the Seventh Heaven plugin. So take a look at the reverbs in your plugin collection and play around with them. So this is my simple trick to get bigger drums, and if you want to have world-class drum samples, then just click the link in the description and you can download my samples completely for free. I hope you have learned something today, and please subscribe to this channel for more music production tips. See you next time, bye!